Egypt's new Niqab ban in schools divides the nation. Egypt's recent decision to ban the niqab, an Islamic religious garment that covers the face, leaving pretty much only the eyes, in schools has ignited passionate discussions across the nation. Education Minister Reda Hegazy stated that while students have the optional right to cover their hair, it should not cover their face, emphasizing that such a choice should be based on her own personal desire without any pressure or force from any person or any other entity other than the parents. Well, some Egyptians believe that the ban facilitates better communication in classrooms and enhances security. Critics argue it infringes on religious freedoms and could push parents to opt for all female schools. The divisive policy is set to be enforced from September 30th to June 8th of 2024. So, this caught my attention for a couple of reasons, Armin. I think it's very interesting that when there are niqab bans in places like Egypt, I think there is some form of niqab ban either in Germany or Sweden, that an immediate accusation is like Islamophobia. But like that is so we see this in Egyptian schools, but where's that same accusation?
Right, right. So what's the main reasoning behind this that they're removing niqab? I
Um,
think this just saved in France. This thing that Egypt did just was like a for nobody can blame France anymore for this. It's done. It's done. Like every time people are like point at France, they're like, you are Islamophobic. France could just be like Egypt. That's it.
mm,
Mic
mm.
drop. End of conversation. Egypt. It's done, isn't it? Like this cannot be like an Islamic country has came to the same conclusion. So how could we be Islamophobic for this? This is the end of the conversation, isn't it? But again, what's the
I mean,
reason?
I wish it was. I wish it was. Um, so it's okay. I went to go refresh my memory, and I haven't been able to find in English reporting media why the education minister like made this decision, right? They just said that any form of covering that contravenes the condition of the face being visible is not acceptable.
Mhm.
But they didn't say like why. What was the reasoning behind it? There were and Al Jazeera did a profile of a lot of different Egyptians and their opinions on this. And there were some people who are saying that they support this decision because they think the face being visible is very important for teachers being able to read the body language of their students to see if they're understanding, which I thought was a very interesting point. I hadn't considered that before. Um, and but then there were also people saying that this is a religious freedom issue and that they should be allowed to do this, and this might have implications on women's education if they're not allowed to do this, meaning that some people would make the decision to be totally sex segregated if they're not allowed to wear this, or possibly be taken out of education altogether. um, but there was one portion of this policy that caught my attention. So it says in the policy that the choice should be, quote, based on her own personal desire without any or pressure or force from any person or any other entity other than the parents. And I'm like, well, the parents are going to be the most likely people to be pressuring and controlling this behavior. That kind of
Right.
seems like a major flaw and loophole. I mean, I know that they're not trying to be some like liberal bastion of individuality and rights, but individual liberty. But still, I'm like, let's be honest. The parents are the people who are most responsible for the social conditioning and pressuring of their daughters.
Hmm. Yes,
What
yes.
do you think about that?
Yeah. But as we know, adults own their children even when they're adults, so they're legally their property. So that's why that loophole is allowed. You are, it's kind of like when slavery, kind of like you're the legal property of your parents and they have complete control over you, and that's
Mm,
recognized, should be recognized at least by the law. So that's the reason why they are allowed to pressure you. That's how that works apparently.
yeah.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, okay, if this was actually about making the policy acknowledging and honoring women's choice, there wouldn't be any exceptions to that rule. Um, yeah, especially parental pressure, because a lot
Yeah.
of women would like to take off the hijab or niqab or whatever, but they don't explicitly because of how their parents would treat them. Um, so I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
I had some interesting comments. By the way, guys, we do take super chats and we read the super chats between news items. So please, if you can, keep those super chats coming. But we did also read some interesting comments sometimes. Wikar saying, "Oh, okay. Hi, Armin and Susanna. I love you both from Pakistan. Also love all the Atheist Republic community. Thank you so much, Wikar. That's very
Thank you for
nice."
being here. We love the AR community too.
Jack is saying, shouldn't people be free to wear what they want as long as they don't hurt each other? Isn't niqab ban against liberalism? Just questioning. Well, I mean, it's not a. It's in certain areas. First of all, liberalism doesn't mean absolute freedom all the time, everywhere. Liberalism advocates for maximum freedom is unless you threaten someone else's liberalism. So, for example, if it's a security issue, sometimes you limit people's freedom. For example, we limit people's freedom to cross red lights because if you allow them, then other people's freedoms will be limited, right? But also, this is in schools. This is not everywhere, right? So if you have just the limitations that you put people in school or at work, that doesn't mean that's against the freedom in public, the freedoms that you have for public areas, right? So for example, if in school you don't say you don't allow students to swear at the teacher, that doesn't mean you're not allowed to swear. It just means in this platform, in this environment, you are expected to behave in a certain way. And that's saying, for example, that you can't swear at your boss at work or else you will get fired. That doesn't mean there's a limit to freedom of speech, because you don't get arrested for it, you're not getting fined for it by the government. You just are expected to behave a certain way in a certain environment. You could still swear in other places and stuff like that, right? So there's that. And these saying easier to take attendance when you can see people. I mean, I know that's funny, but it also made me think, like, yeah, I mean, wouldn't, if you're wearing the niqab, aren't you going to be able to like get other people to come write your exams for you, right?
What?
At school, for example.
Oh, like you have some other girl come dressed in niqab, come into the classroom and take your exam for you?
Yeah, aren't you able to do that?
um,
I mean,
I
that would be
hadn't
very
thought
easy
about
to.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have to still look pretty similar to you in the eyes.
No, not really. You can, if you, especially if you wear some eyeshadows and makeup, then I can't. I mean, I can't tell them apart. If you could do them, if you're wearing the exact same, do the
I
eyebrows and
definitely
everything the
could.
same.
I have really good facial recognition. It's like my superpower. So I would be able to tell based on the eyes if that's a different person, 100%.
Mm, mm. Also, if you're wearing hijab, can't you just put earpods and listen, have all the answers recorded for yourself, and just listen to the answers? Nobody could see what's in your ear.
Maybe. How would you know what answers to record though?
Um, I don't know. I think there should be a way to do that. I mean, you could put in your pocket like the device to just go. You have different sections, and you just go forward until you reach the part. Like you just hit
Mm.
your pocket until you reach the part that you need to listen to. You could go back and forward,
Yeah, you need to
right?
have you need to know You need to have the master sheet, though. You have to be able to know the answers to
No. You
prepare for
could
that.
have different sections, like for example, the question is about a different one section. You could just go click forward until you hit that section of the audio, and you listen. I don't know. I think it's possible.
Mm.
All right. Next, yeah. Ray saying they said what is that?
Oh, I
The
saw
source of
another
this?
comment that I want to highlight. You go first.
Okay, Ray saying they said Niqab is not Islamic. Also, many Egyptians do consider Niqab as a foreign Salafist thing. Yeah, I mean this entire argument saves France. You know, like if Muslim countries can't decide which part of the hijab is Islamic and which part of it isn't, then if France is banning something that is Islamic, is it actually Islamic? We don't. Even Muslim governments can't seem to agree which part of it is Islamic. So we're not even sure. You can't even tell us that we're being Islamophobic, given that we don't even know if this is Islam or not. So there you go. I mean, this completely saves France from all the accusations. You want to read this one? You highlighted this one.
Zaid said, in my country, there was an incident where a man wore a niqab and didn't examine his sister's place.
Oh, see,
That's crazy. Like,
I knew it.
did
It's
no one
possible.
notice like the height difference? Like the difference in body build? Like, what are you saying to me?
I mean, have you not? I mean, when I do exams in UBC, there's just like so many of us in an entire gym area. Who is supposed to be the one who can tell that I'm not the same person? We're not talking about like high school classes, right? We're talking about, I don't know, 200 people walking into like a gym area, right, which they have seats put apart. Your teacher is not there to be able to be like, our teacher couldn't even remember us if we were, if unless you're one of a person that keeps on asking a lot of questions. It's not going to remember you, and your teacher is not even there. Your prof is not even there. Who's supposed to be the one who recognizes that you're not the same person?
Yeah, I guess I didn't consider that because my university was a lot smaller. Um,
No.
Zaid was saying he was caught in full makeup. It was hilarious.
Okay, so he was cut.
Yo, I love the commitment though. He went full
Yeah.
method. Okay, like I wonder I want to see like a comedic skit about this. Like did he try to do like a little female voice like when people tried to talk to him? Like
Yeah, you're right.
that'd be
That's good.
so funny. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Like, "Hi Noor, how are you doing today?" "Hi there, ladies. How are I'm great."
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay. Oh, somebody's saying he's a nice brother though. I appreciate you guys like celebrating the fact that he's cheating for his sister as
You know
something
what?
nice
Yeah,
and
exactly.
wholesome.
That's what we should be considering here. That's familial love right there.
Making cheating wholesome. I didn't know that's what we're gonna be doing here at the show today. All right. So can we move to the guys? As a official position of Atheist Republic is that everything we just said was a joke. Okay, we're not recommending for people to cheat. Just in case we could get into legal trouble for that. For legal reasons, that was all a joke. Okay. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.